Hey everyone, this is Ken Susi here, live from Fishman, the YouTube page on Fishman. It's really good to be back. It's been a while. I know that I haven't done a live stream in a bit, but there is a good reason to do a live stream today. Today we have Mike Stringer from Spiritbox. Super excited. One of the nicest people that I know in the industry. Really excited to interview him today. And also, we have a very special announcement. We are releasing a couple new products, but today we're going to be announcing one of those new products. And just to give you before I give you the reveal, this is something that we've been working on or thinking about for a very long time, and we're very excited. But as of now, we would like you to obviously, if you're joining us on YouTube, just please click the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any live events. And also, right here, go to www.fishman.com where you can check out our electric, our acoustic, our MIDI products. We have a lot of cool stuff that is on this page. A lot of great information. A lot of times on these live streams, you have a question about how to wire a guitar, how to do this, how to do that. I'm here to talk you through it. And also, let's not forget that if you're looking for anything, like as far as parts go or any type of electronics, let me just get this going right now. Sorry, I'm just getting the site up right now, but sorry, you will see on fishmanstore.com we have all this cool stuff here. We have hats, t-shirts. Everything you hear is true. Podcast shirts, Fluence shirts, all that good stuff. But now I would like to show you what we have going on here. For a long time, we've always wanted to split our modern pickups. Now, what does that mean? For those of you that are new to the pickup game, I am holding an ESP E2. This guitar is wired, so with the tone knob, you can access voice 1, which is our active sound, voice 2, which is our passive sound, and we've given you other features such as high frequency tilt, which kind of knocks off a little bit of that top end, gives you that 30-foot of guitar length cable type of sound, and also negative 6 dB gain reduction. That is still available in our pickups, but now, today, I know you guys are freaking out, but this is a set of red Fluence Moderns, and we have a voice 3, a dedicated voice 3. So once you pull this up right here, you're getting access to not a split sound of voice 1 and voice 2. It's its own independent voicing of a split sound, kind of like what we do with the classics, but shifted in frequency. Very modern, very good sounding. Right now, I just want to take a second to show you how good that sounds. Let me show you a quick snippet of what voice 3 sounds like in the bridge. Oh, good. My reel isn't working for some reason. I apologize. Well, let me see real quick if I can get this going for you. Ah, wow. What is going on here? Hold on one sec. We are going to Here we go. Nope. Obviously not gonna happen. The video's not working. I am so sorry. Let me see if I can pull it from our site. So right here we have a site on the Fishman site. This is our landing spot right here, fishman.com. Fluence Modern Humbuckers now with voice 3. Look at this. The red pickups. And here's a quick video if you can hear it. Let's see if we can get this going from here. And I'll show you. And last but not least, we have voice 3 neck. Let me see if I can get that going for you. Mike, let's see. We're going to get Mike on in a second, but check this out. So that is it, guys. Those are the sounds. So I see that you're all popping up right now, and I really appreciate you guys coming. But now I'd like to introduce my good friend, Mike Stringer from Spiritbox. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going, man?
Good, good. We have a couple technical difficulties here. It always happens on every live stream.
It's technology, man. It's the way it goes.
It's wild. We're gonna talk a little bit about pickups, but everybody that's watching right now, I am seeing all your questions pop up. So I cannot put them on the screen, but I will read them, and I'll ask Mike. You can ask me anything you want. But again, Mike, what are you thinking of these new modern pickups? Did you get to hear those sound examples that I just played through?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible that you can have a pickup that's just so heavy, and then just flicking a switch, you got that split coil, and you have that that clean sound out of it. Because for me, like personally, the cleans are almost just as important as the heavy tone. So yeah, it is pretty remarkable that you can do that with this set for sure.
That's awesome. It's cool to hear. Because really, I want to go backwards too. I know I just asked you what you thought of the clean tones, but how did you arrive at Fluence? Because I know that, you've been using Fluence Moderns now for a while. And, you hit me up at one point and you were just like, I want these. You might have, used them and then went back to using another pickup and then returned back, right? So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I landed on the Fluence stuff pretty much in the pandemic. I ordered a guitar. The company only had a couple options, and one of the options was the Fluence Modern. And it was my first step into the Evertune world as well. So I got this guitar built, and I just fell in love with it immediately. I didn't really know what it was at the beginning. I was just like, man, there's just something about this thing. And then playing a couple other guitars that had different pickups in it, it was a clear indicator that the moderns were just for me, really. It just really agreed with my playing style and my hands. It felt really good. And from then on, it was just that combination. I was just trying to find any Evertune guitar that I had. I'm like, it has to have moderns in there. And that's pretty much been it. I've recorded everything I've done in the last few years with moderns. And they're a huge part of my setup now. I need to have them.
Yeah. Have you noticed the consistency? I know that you've been using other pickups for a while. The consistency between guitars, or maybe even taste testing the woods, or I know you're using Aristide, so it's a certain type of material. But before, were you feeling your Aristide guitars sounded different, even though they were made for consistency, and now that you were Fluence, everything's consistent?
Well, that's the thing. That's actually a good point that you bring up, because even with those guitars, the Aristide stuff is so specific and it's so niche. And then going to a wood guitar, you would think that the sound would be completely different, but having those moderns in there, I can switch back and forth, and it's really not that big of a deal. You can hear pretty much the same equivalent across the board. Obviously, there's small things that are different, because you got a guitar that's not made out of wood, and then you have a guitar that's made out of wood. Right. But in a live setting and stuff, my patches and stuff are exactly the same pretty much. So
right. I was feeling when I was with another company before I found Fishman, I'd be in the recording studio with a producer, and I would hand him a bunch of guitars that was very similar in woods and materials and stuff, and then I'd have the same pickups in it, but he was like, oh, this guitar has so much chime to it. Oh, this guitar is so dark. And I'm saying to myself, why is that? So pickups are genuinely inconsistent. I just wondered if you experienced that.
Yeah, what I love about them too is that, as I said before, majority of the clean stuff that we do is a lot of it being the cab sim turned off. So it's like basically like a glorified DI. So you can hear like a colored, bright version of the DI, and that's kind of how we get like these like glassy, chimey sounds through the top end there. And like, yeah, the moderns do it really well. You would think that a really high gain pickup like that could handle drop F sharp would just kind of be like a one trick pony, but it's not. Like I can use it for all of our stuff. It's awesome.
Are you primarily using Voice 1, the active sound?
Yeah, I am for sure. I'm in love with that. I don't know what it is. Yeah. It's just like balls to the wall the entire time, you know.
It's so funny because people are like, obviously a lot of people know me from being in heavy metal bands over the years and Fluence, and they're always like, why don't you have your own signature product? And I'm like, because like I help voice all these things and they're all my signature product. Like this is
yeah.
I'm with you. Like, I don't need anything else. I like what I like, and it is what it is, What do you think about, like, Voice 2? Because I personally think that if Dimebag Darrell were still alive, God bless his soul, I think he would be loving that Voice 2, that passive, like, ceramic bladed kind of sound.
It's sick. I mean, when we record, we definitely take advantage of the different voicings. For live, I just have Voice 1, but, like, whenever we're doing something that's a little bit more... like a chorus, like trying to get something that's like a little wider, a little bigger sounding. Like we'll throw on Voice 2. I'll even mess around with Voice 2 with some of the clean stuff as well, just to get different combinations going. Because that's the beauty of it. I mean, like you have all these different voices, really. For the lack of a better word, you can just kind of go through, and it's amazing with these pickups where like you're toggling between going from bridge, middle to neck, and then with Voice 2, it's like you get like 6 different sounds right off of just flicking a couple knobs. It's pretty incredible.
Right. Well, that's awesome to hear, and I feel exactly the same way. Everyone that's out there, I really appreciate you guys asking questions right now. We're gonna start answering them. Before we do this, I just want to say, because you guys showed up and because you guys have been so great, we're going to give away a set of pickups by the end of this stream. So feel free to enter to win a set of Fluence Moderns with the new updated Voice 3 split coil sound. You can enter your chance to win at fishman.com/live event giveaway. So it's just head over to there and just go right there. Actually, I could probably put it up on the screen if I was like a good host. I would be like showing off all this stuff and being cool about it, but let's see what I can do right now and see if I can show everybody.
Pickups, baby.
I know, everyone show up. Go right now, like literally right now, to this screen right here, and it's right here on the screen. Enter your name, address, all this good stuff. Enter to win. Do not forget. So we will be doing that. We will be doing that shortly. So, Mike Sanders is asking, Ken, are you guys gonna make passive pickups? I love that question because what he means is wire wound cable, like old 80-year-old technology. Fluence is built off of a brand new type of design, which is a 48-layer thinly sliced precision coil. So it's still an analog pickup. The magnets still do all the work, but we require a preamp and the sophisticated coil. So with that being said, we can get any type of passive tone or any type of active tone that we want, depending on the magnet structure. That's how it's going to sound, or the voicing of the pickup. But there is no reason for Fishman to do a passive or wire wound pickup because that technology is old school. It's like me asking you to tie your shoes 1,000 times the same way, and you're never gonna do it, and it's literally gonna be that thing. So honestly, like Ryan Bruce says it the best, and I'll let Mike comment on this. The power is required for the technology, not for the sound per se. And what that kind of means, and I like what that means, is that it's like in the 80s, you used to have a telephone hanging on your wall, or an old tube television. Now your phone does television, phone, internet. It does absolutely everything, and that's what Fluence kind of does. So, Mike, do you kind of feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you get that option already built in. There's no reason to kind of go back and try to do like an older way of doing things when you guys have kind of carved out this new way of doing it, which makes way more sense in my opinion. I mean, as you said before, you get far more consistency, and you can kind of just model whatever you want. So it's great. It's awesome.
It's so cool. Yeah, no, I totally agree too. And the thing I like too is that the 60 cycle hum on some pickups. Like, how are you gonna get rid of that when you play? Do you ever play strats?
Yeah, dude. Some of them are a lot gnarlier than others. That's for sure.
Yeah. So like, you could turn your amp up to say like 6 or whatever on a clean tone, and the next thing you know, you just have your guitar plugged in. It's going like the whole time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So with Fluence, we can just to answer Mike's question, it's very, very like our Fluence pickups sound very, very rich. They're dynamic. They're very aligned in phase. Mike, are you kind of like a studio guy too?
Yeah.
Have you ever plugged in a DI? I like DI and like looked at the Fluence frequencies.
Oh yeah, big time. That was one thing that made a huge difference actually when we were recording our record. Was we were analyzing what those pickups looked like in the waveform, and they're just like sausages the whole time.
Right.
Which is awesome, because it's all just perfectly consistent, and it just sounds awesome. Huge difference between the passives for sure.
Yeah, I challenge anybody that's watching this live stream. Grab a DI, grab any passive pickup that's wire wound, and do like the chug, the cha, and like watch how Fluence looks like snare drum hits, when you're chugging. Whereas like, even though you're consistently hitting the string on a regular wire wound coil, one's tall, one's little, like they're all over the place and they vary.
Yep.
So let's see. A lot of people are writing all this great stuff. I was turned on to Fishman after Josh Middleton. When I play heavy thrash metal stuff, I want compression, 127 velocity, same note dynamics. There we go. He's basically saying the same thing. Jamie, that's really, really cool. So Bear Gone Fishin' is writing, is Fishman bringing printed coil build over to acoustic pickups? I don't know. Who knows? We have the ability. We probably could someday. Let's see. We've got audio now. Here we go. Okay, so everyone was just telling me before that there was no there was no audio when listen, guys, I'm not the greatest host here. I never claimed to be. But Mike, why don't you tell me a little bit about, before we go back into pickups and stuff and talking, why don't you tell me a little bit about the band, how you guys got formed, what you guys got going on now? I kind of want like a quick history lesson, because a lot of people don't know how awesome your band is, like as far as like how many awesome things you guys have done to get to the point that you are currently now.
Well, I'll do like the too long didn't read version. We started in 2017. It was just me and Courtney at the beginning, and we made a bunch of EPs. We focused online mostly, and actually previous to that, we were in a band called I Wrestled a Bear Once together, and we did like a lot of touring and everything, and learned a lot.
One of my favorite bands at that time period. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, from there we started Spiritbox, and we really just went out of our way to focus online, release music, make music videos. And after a few years of doing that, and 2 EPs and a few singles, we went out and tried to go on tour in March of 2020, which we all know what happened. And it was interesting because at that point I thought the band was done, because there was no point in trying to continue to be a band during a global shutdown. But ironically enough, during what was a really horrible time for everybody, the band just started going like this, and people started taking notice and caring, and coming out of that, we were signed, and we had to go do it for real. And that's basically what we've been doing the last couple of years, and it's just touring a lot and really trying to get out on the road as much as possible. We released our first full-length record called Eternal Blue last 2 years ago now, and from then on, we've had a couple singles, and we have a new EP coming out November 3rd called The Fear of Fear, which I'm really excited about, which definitely has Fluence all over it. It's been a wild ride. It's been a little, pretty crazy the last little bit for sure. It's just been like nonstop. So it's been
Yeah,
good.
people are writing right now. I still have Owens is writing. I still have the demo CD of I Wrestled a Bear Once. How awesome is that?
Damn, that's wild. That's
I
crazy.
while Fishman just is saying it right now on the live stream. Everyone who's watching this, head over to fishman.com live event giveaway. We have our team over here posting that link. If you get the chance, head over and do it, because you can win a set of Fluence right before the end of this live stream. But I was going to ask you too, like, let's continue to talk, I guess, about the band a little bit. It's funny because I personally liked I Wrestled a Bear Once. We've never toured with you, with my other band Unearth. But I was going to say, what is it? I mean, the vibe is different of the new band, obviously. It's a completely different vibe. But, like, do you think, like, how do you find yourself in a successful project and then find yourself being like, wait a second, like, let's just change the name and get some new people and do this other thing? Like, how do you shut one down and turn one on like that?
That was a crazy process, man. Honestly, like we were out on tour. There was 4 of us that were touring at the time, and there was another member that wasn't. And I think 2 of the guys that were original members, like I was not an original member by any means. I was the last person to come in. I was in the band for 2.5 years. Courtney was in it for about 3.5. And the 2 guys that had been there since the beginning, we all just kind of sat down and we just realized we were just like, this isn't really working. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't what it was before. It's not going to be able to move forward clearly. So I think what we need to do is kind of just call it a day, which was a very, very difficult decision to make, obviously. And for those guys, too, because Ricky and Mikey had been doing that for ages. You know what I mean? Like, that was their baby, and, they were there since the very beginning, like I was saying. So I think because I had played that style of music for so long, ever since I was 16, really, and when I mean that style of music, I mean just very like dissonant tapping, crazy, throw as many notes as you can into a part type thing.
Right.
Coming out of that, I didn't want to do that anymore. So when me and Courtney were making new music for a new project, which ended up being Spiritbox, it sounded completely different. I was very obsessed with Tesseract at the time. I was very obsessed with all this new style of, low tune metal that was going on. And that's just kind of what came out of me. It wasn't like a clear effort of like, we need to be like polar opposite of what we did, but it was just kind of the attitude of like, whatever we make, if we find it catchy, let's just go for it. And that's just been the way that it's been since day one for this band. It's just kind of like, well, if we like it and you get stuck in our head, let's just do it. But yeah, it is interesting to go from a band that has crazy Dillinger style blasts into a jazz samba part into, you know what I mean? Like, and I loved playing that because it was a challenge. It was very creatively fulfilling because it was just like all over the map at all times. And as a guitar player, it's like cool to do that. But I don't know. I think moving forward, once we were done with that, it was like, all right, well, let's just move on and put that in the past, and
All right.
let's just try to mature and try to write songs as opposed to parts.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it's funny too because because your band basically, you fell into that category of like the tween 2000s, right? Like where you guys were like frantic and spastic, and also like inserting a little bit of comedy into your visuals and videos
Sure.
and stuff like that. And then now you're in such a band that I think like a lot of people who and please, like, this may sound insane, but I feel like people who love your band and the I guess the content that you guys create and the words, and like it's something you could really I guess like gather around. And I feel like your fan base is really making you into like a cult classic, like a cult band, which is awesome. It's so different from like going from like young kids to like having fun to like this like serious overtone or undertone to your band.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I mean, it's like I was saying before, it is such a polar opposite. You know what I mean? But I think the people that really enjoy it, as you're saying, like it is kind of wild. Like they kind of obsess over it, which is I'm super thankful for, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, the subject matter is a little darker. It's definitely a little bit more like lyrically. I don't even know what you would describe it as. Courtney's lyrics are always like very deep in a way. I mean, I don't even know what half the songs mean, to be honest. She probably doesn't either. She probably realizes years later, like, oh shit, But yeah, it's just been it's all that we've known. Me and Courtney have been doing this since 2000. I met her in 2008. My local band and her local band played at an anarchist bookstore, and it's just been music ever since. So hopefully we can just continue to do it. And yeah.
You guys are a great band, and you got one of my favorite people in the world, Josh Gilbert, playing bass for you guys. So I absolutely love Josh. You guys are lucky. You have a good lineup.
Oh yeah.
We got some questions coming in. Johnny is writing, is the new voicing going to be available in all sets? Where is it? I love the Tosins due to the single coil voicing, but prefer the output for riffs of the moderns. Having this new voicing on the moderns would be awesome. So, Johnny, like, let me describe kind of what the split coil does. So, if you like the modern sound, if you got voice 1 and voice 2, and you really do favor those sounds, and you don't want the Tosin thumpy thing and kind of the characteristics that he has, but we kind of parked our split coil sound like in between the classic set, where the classic is very traditional sounds, and Tosins, which are very high def and sparkly kind of sounds. So we parked it somewhere in the middle, and you got enough of that twinkle for the split stuff, definitely with the ceramic blade vibe going on. So you're gonna really find yourself, if you like the Tosins and you like the Tosin splits as well. I think this is going to be a really good set for you. By the way, everybody, again, do we have some new people coming in? Enter to win. The link is in the description. In the chat from Fishman. You can get a chance to win one of these sets of the new Modern Series humbucker pickups. Jamie is asking a question to, I guess, both of us. Do you find yourself switching between the voicings when playing live, or mostly in the studio?
Studio for me.
Yep.
I don't know about you.
I for a short period of time with Unearth, believe it or not, if you're familiar with the Oncoming Storm, I believe we recorded that either with an 85, like an 85 or something like that, or a passive pickup. I actually think it might have been a passive pickup. I can't even remember what it was. But what I do know is that when I flick up the voice 2 and play Oncoming Storm riffs, it sounds more fluffy and big and passive. So I was doing that for a number of years with Unearth, but now I'm older and lazier, and I don't touch the knobs. I play what I like. But definitely a cool trick in the studio is, and I think I'm going to let you answer this, but this is what I do. I quad my tracks. I play in voice 1, and then I'm like, all right, I need a different pickup sound, and then I pick up the voice 2, and then I start tracking there.
Yeah, that's a good trick, actually. We do quads too a lot of the time. We'll do like Evertune versus non-Evertune, and then kind of just see, which part needs more energy, which part needs to be more locked in, and kind of like Frankenstein them from there. Right. But yeah, we have experimented with the 2 different voices doing that. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of. There's no right or wrong way. I mean, live for me, I like just to have everything set. I don't have to think about anything. There's too many variables, you know what I mean? So if like something goes down, you don't want to have to like worry about it. But in the studio, that's where I kind of experiment with all that and the different voicings for sure.
Isn't it crazy how you find a sound that you like, and every single guitar player is almost like ritualistic on stage about their tone and what they're playing through. It's like everything that's set up now, don't touch it, and this is how I want it forever until I decide not to.
Yeah, hit save.
Right. Yeah, do you see that knob right there? Yeah, mark that so it's always there.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. Kevin is writing, I feel like Mike has changed the narrative on 8-string guitars, not just for prog, but nerds anymore, meaning you are expanding the line. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you. I mean, I think we're at a very interesting point with this new style of metal as well, where it's like, how much lower can you go? Like how much farther can you push it? And there's a lot of bands that are doing the drop F sharp, like kind of being in that range, which is, for me, we chose it because it fits perfectly with Courtney's voice and where she's comfortable with her key. But I think the next 5 years is going to be very interesting. I don't know how much lower we can go. I don't know how much farther we can push it and it's still being clear and not muddy. I mean, you hear a lot of records now and like they're low tuned, but some of them aren't really like focused, you know, so they sound really sludgy and they're not really like tight in that way, you know. So I don't know. I think rather in 5 years, people are going to be so sick of hearing that tuning and everyone's going to be tuning up and on 6 strings again, or we're going to be on like 10 strings octave below, like, you know, B or something. I have no idea. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I always get calls from Stephen Carpenter from the Deftones, and he's like, "Yo, I'm rolling with a 9-string. What do you got?" You know, I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do."
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, Steph's always pushing it, and it's so funny for me because, like, if you're a fan of are you a fan of the Deftones? Probably.
Obsessed.
Yeah. Okay. It's always like so interesting to me that he could tune a guitar to, like, you know, whatever it is on a 9-string, and it's so low, yet they do incorporate it in a hit single. They always just keep writing hits with it, and I cannot believe it.
It's insane. It's so cool.
But let's see what else we got here. Really enjoying the Fishmans in my 7. It's sounding very interesting. Awesome, guys. This is really great. Also, another feature that I want to just talk about too, which I don't know if you've ever used this, Mike, but we have a -6 dB gain reduction on the pickup, and I don't know if you've ever messed with it. Some people just kind of know they like a lower output pickup, but for me, I read a lot of stuff on the forums, and people sometimes say, I really like, you know, the Fluence Moderns and stuff, but they're just not for me because they're too hot. Some people want an active pickup sound that is, you know, has like less gain. We have definitely facilitated that. Have you ever tried it out, ever?
So I did once, and it wasn't for me. I think for me, I am very much like, I need as much like volume and push from the pickups and my hand, and then from there I'd rather take like the wireless and like duck it down on that end. I'd way rather have it coming from the guitar as opposed to like making up for it somewhere else, you know. Do you ever find that where it's like you get two complete, like, have you ever like experimented with having like lower output on the pickups and cranking the pack as opposed to doing the opposite? Like, what do you think about that?
I'm actually with you on that. I would rather have the proper amount of gain and to roll back the amp so I'm picking hard. Yeah. Where it's more guitar becomes more of a percussive instrument as well as like finesse. I think when you do the opposite, it's asking too much of the amp.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I definitely my gain's at like 2. It's not even, you know what I mean? It's coming all from the hand.
Yeah, I use an EVH Stealth, the EL34 one, and I think my gain is on 3, maybe.
Yeah, that's the best amp.
Yeah, it's for me. If you're not rolling around with like old school Eddie Van Halen 5150s, I would say that this is the next gen.
I agree.
But real quick, everyone, again, we're getting towards the end of this live stream. This is a red set, guys. Red set of Modern Series humbuckers. This is a brand new color, which we didn't have, and now we have it. It looks a little pinkish here because I have a blue light. But I'll tell you, these things are like, they're blood red. They're better than any other reds that any other companies have. You know why? Because I obsessed over it for months and try to find the right red. That's how I know. Yeah, that's how I know. And we're going to get you a set. So everyone, too, that's watching, I've been getting a ton of texts, and I think a lot of people have probably been texting you about this live stream. You're using a secret pickup from Fishman right now. And that secret pickup, everyone, is going to be announced on Monday's stream, same time on Monday. We're not going to talk about what it is, but I'm just going to ask you a couple things about what is this vibe of the new pickup that we have? How do you feel about it?
I love it. It's super sick. I love it because it was very easy to put into a few of my guitars. There was no issues with it. And it's a familiar sound. It's a sound that I'm super, super used to, and there was no need for me to change much on my end, on my patches live or anything, and it looks badass, and I'm just really pumped with it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's such a cool design, and I think everyone that is watching this live stream, please head over to the Fishman, like, subscribe to this channel. Make sure you don't miss out on that Monday stream, because we're gonna unveil something super cool. It's actually right over here on my screen, like sitting on top of my wall of amps, but I can't show you today, guys. This is something I can't do. People are bummed out. So
It's a tease.
It is a tease. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're into it. And Mark Keller is asking me, what are your influences? So I guess we're going to broaden that question a little bit, because we have a little bit more time left. But what are your guitar influences and what are your band influences?
Man, it always changes. But lately, I've just been kind of going back to when I was a kid and what made me stoked to listen to music when I was younger. I mean, Hetfield's Right Hand, I don't think you can really beat it, to be honest. It's like literally the most aggressive rhythm hand that is on the planet right now. Yeah, like I look to those guys, man. Like especially Metallica was like my number one for a very, very long time, still is. But yeah, I mean, like growing up, it was like I started with the whole going to like the classic rock stuff, and then I went to grunge really quick, and then it was new metal, and it was new metal for a long time. It was like, like guys like Wes Borland and some of those albums like Hybrid Theory and everything that I would just listen to religiously. And then from there, it was like when I was 15, 16, I've discovered the guys in like Protest the Hero and Dillinger, and I started going into that world where it was like more of that niche kind of like technical craziness. And then yeah, as I got older, it was like kind of going back and revisiting the new metal stuff again. So it's like Slipknot and all that stuff. So it's all over the map. I honestly don't even really listen to metal all that much. I'm mostly listening to pop and just random stuff that's on the radio, really. So yeah, my influences are always all over the map. And every time I get asked this question, I just completely gap and I can't even remember what I usually listen to. I have to reference Spotify all the time. I don't know if you're like that, but I always just look at like my Spotify search history and I'm like, oh yeah, I've been listening to that. I love that. But yeah, like it's been a minute since like anything new-ish has like really caught my attention. But like, bands like Knocked Loose and stuff like that, like I'm obsessed with just super heavy, ignorant, crazy, balls to the wall metal. But yeah, it's crazy how many songs are uploaded every single day and how much new music's out there. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of stuff that I've been obsessing over lately. But yeah, my influences are all over the map, man. Like I can't really narrow it down to just like one or two specific things. How about you?
I'm like one of those. I went really weird. Like I like to go weird all the time. Like I listen to 70s like big time, like yacht rock, very smooth music.
Cool.
Like Boz Scaggs and weird, like like all that weird like smooth stuff, because I like the production. Air Supply is one of my favorite bands. But no, I went like straight that's what I listen to now. But I grew up as a hair glam kind of kid, because I grew up in the 80s. And I loved obviously like Eddie Van Halen and all that kind of stuff, and like but Winger, Stryper, all those bands. And then like that's where all the like shreddy Unearth like stuff kind of came from. And the stage moves, believe it or not, were kind of bit from Cinderella. Swinging the guitars and just being like in my brain I was always like, I'm in Cinderella, but I'm in a metal band. But I would say that like as I got older, it went like right into Iron Maiden. Live After Death changed my life. And then Crowbar and Cannibal Corpse and like a bunch of stuff, Pantera, like everybody else. But then I started just going to VFW halls, and I think you're of that age too, where the VFW hall scene was thriving way more than like club scenes and theater scenes. So we like had this like amazing amount of like, especially in Boston, Converge, Overcast, Killswitch, Unearth, and then we started like mixing it up with New York, like Madball, and like all these crazy bands would just converge into like one show. And then next thing you know, Unearth is playing with like Thursday, or Hatebreed's playing with like Circus Survive or whatever. Like weird things would happen. But I think that shaped all of us.
It did, man. Like in Canada, it was the Legion halls. So you would have the same thing. And yeah, started playing shows at like 16, and all these like hardcore bands and crazy technical tech bands and everything would be coming through, and they were super obscure and everything, but like you would pick up on all of it and you would learn from them, and you would check out their gear and like see all their their shred and everything, and you're like, holy shit. So it's like you kind of evolve that way too, just by playing shows. And I think that back then, like 2000, for me it was 2007, 2008. That's like when everything started for me.
Yeah, for me that was when everything ended. No, I'm just kidding. I was like, oh man, my career is starting to be. It was way hotter than this a couple years ago. But no, it's funny. Andy Williams from Every Time I Die. I think you'll appreciate the story. I don't tell it much. But the first time I ever met Andy from Every Time I Die, I bought a Randall RG or RH100. It's the amp that Dime used on Cowboys from Hell, right? But I bought it because Kirk Winstein I hung out with Kirk Winstein as a kid, like for a second, and I saw his amp in his settings, and I bought one, and I met Andy Williams for the first time, and we were just like two VFW Hall kids, and I walked up to him because he had some good like heavy tone, and I was like, yo, you want to like learn how to like get the crowbar guitar tone? And he's like, yes. And then I didn't know this guy, but that's how like I introed myself, and we walked over to my amp and I was showing him the settings, and we became like
That's
lifelong
so
friends after that.
Just two nerds nerding out about obscure guitar tone.
I know. Now people are on their like cell phones and be like, oh, I just shared my patch with you on Quad Cortex.
Exactly. It's on the cloud.
Yeah, please give me a break. Yeah, but what are you currently running for a rig? Actually, wait 1 sec. Placidon is writing, I emailed Fishman support about a triple play, and it's been more than a few days. Should I send another email? Feel free to call Fishman. Feel free to go to support@fishman.com. Derek over there at Fishman is like the coolest ever, and he will handle all your stuff. Let's talk about your amp though. Like, what are you currently using? And I think I'll segue into another question after, because I already know what you use, kinda.
Yeah. I'm all fractal right now, and I love it. I mean, the thing is like, I would use a more like traditional rig, like a head or whatever. But the thing is we have so many pitch shifting moments in our set. Like, we have songs that have like 4 or 5 different tunings in them. And the fractal just does the virtual capo thing so well. Like, it's like, I don't think I've played any other modeler that handles that as good as it does. So not only does it take care of like all my clean stuff and all the amazing effects and stuff, but the actual tuning is like so important for us that I put that before everything else. Because I mean, you know how it is with all these modelers. You can get good clean tones and leads and all that stuff and delays, but the pitch shifting, they have that figured out so good. So that's what I've been running. It's all MIDI'd from the Ableton session, so I don't have to touch anything. And yeah, it just changes my tunings on the fly. So like, we'll have like even just one note in a chorus that will go down to the note, as opposed to playing the 10th fret or whatever.
How low can you go as far as like the tuning on that unit before it starts to add artifacts?
We have songs that we're in F sharp, and we have songs that are in octave below D that we'll play throughout the entire song. If you go a bit lower than like C, it starts getting like, okay. But we have a song called Rotoscope that's an octave below F sharp, which is at that point, it's like straight up just like an effect. It's like a sludgy kind of, but the thing is that you can actually play through it, and there's no latency. So It feels weird. Yeah, it feels weird, but like, if you get used to it, and if you're on those super low tunings, if you crank the gain just a little bit to like make up for it, it's like you're playing in that tuning. It's pretty wild.
Whoa,
really cool.
You kind of almost just changed my life, because I want to try that out, because I'm an amp guy, and I've always used like 2 notes, so I use that live in the States. But when I go to Europe, I'm on the fractal, and it's an impulse of my amp. So nice. I've been using the Line 6 HX Stomp, which I think is better than the red Digitech pedals. It's so amazing. Have you tried one of those yet?
I have, because I heard that the Digitech people kind of assisted on that. Did they not?
Yeah, I heard that people did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. No, I felt like that was a huge step up for them as well. But dude, like the virtual capo on the fractal, I can't recommend it enough. You got to try it out. I'm
literally, after this live stream, I'm plugging in my amp and trying it, just because if it's another unit that I don't need to use, then so be it.
Yeah. You do it, dude. If you have any questions, I'll help you out.
I might need some. The second I plug this in, I'm gonna be like, what button do I press?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's when the monocle comes out and I just become a child,
Yeah.
or an old person, whatever you want to call it, whatever diss you want to throw out.
It's like that John Petrucci, you know those old voiceover John Petrucci videos where the guy's like, it's like he's standing there and it's like it's like a lesson or whatever, and they're like, what does he say? He's like, oh, I press this button, I go into world domination mode.
Yeah, right.
Dude, it's so good.
Dude, it's amazing. Well, awesome. But Fishman is feeding me a winner in a couple minutes. Everyone, real quick, we are giving away a set of pickups in a couple seconds. We're literally going to be announcing a winner for these Modern Series with the updated Voice 3 in red or whatever color I'm sure you choose. I'm sure Fishman will reach out if you choose to get another color and you don't have blood red hardware. But I'll say, in my ESP guitar right now, this looks pretty darn good. I mean, we're definitely rolling with this E2 model right now. Let's see. What else do we got going on? Let me see if there's any other questions here. Oh, whoa. We've got a celebrity in town right now. Mr. Thomas McRocklin. Are you familiar, Mike?
Yeah, I am.
Guys, Thomas McRocklin is one of my favorite guitar players. Mike, let me tell a quick Thomas McRocklin story because I don't tell this very often. So Thomas McRocklin is roughly the same age as me, and then when he was on, you have to watch if you haven't seen it. The audience is listening. The Steve Vai video. He was the little kid that was little Stevie Vai. And I was like, oh, man, it must be so cool to be like that kid, like to be in that video. And then I look into it, and he's like equally as good as Steve Vai at that age. And I was like super bummed, but like that I thought I was pretty good, and then like he was so much better than me. So I was like, all right, I had a punching bag, with Thomas's face on it. No, as a kid, no, but I was
yeah, of course.
In all fairness, Thomas was the guitar player I think in my musical journey that gave me the he's one of the guitar players at an early age where I was like, I can do what he's doing. I can sure. He's my age and he's there, and he's really good, but that gave me something to like push for. Yeah. And obviously like when you get in a band yourself and you start touring with like, your band has a little bit of hype, and then you start seeing bands that are bigger than you, and you get that confidence too, and you're like, I could do this. Like, I could put on a sick show. I can write a sick record. Like when you get that confidence, it's kind of a no-brainer. Who are your influences like that as far as like stage performance and live stuff?
Man, it was like, for me, when I was first playing shows, obviously when you first start out, you have no idea what the hell you're doing, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even have like a noise suppressor or like a tuner when I was 16 or whatever. And then I think for me it was more so just getting out there and playing a bunch of shows and touring and playing with other bands and kind of just like nitpicking and picking at small things here and there gear wise, and also just like how they were performing. And it was so amazing to see the difference between everything between 2008 to like, when I don't know when the first time you saw a laptop on stage.
It just one day I woke up and everybody had them.
And everybody had them, you know what I mean? So it was like this progression of like over a few years where it went from like these really raw shows where no one was playing to a click, drummers were kind of just like you were playing to them type thing, and then like all of a sudden it was like this explosion of like everyone's got in-ears and all this crazy stuff. I'm like, how the hell does this even work, So yeah. For me, like my inspiration for like how to run a show and how to perform and everything really came from just the experience over like 10 years of touring and playing like smaller shows to bigger shows and kind of working up that ladder really. But it's funny because there was definitely a time where like it seemed like everyone was doing backflips and throwing their guitars around and doing crazy stuff, and then all of a sudden like overnight everyone's like, no, I need to be like proficient at my instrument, you know what I mean? Like
I started that way, and then I just stopped caring and got drunk and played and threw my guitar around.
There you go.
It's so funny though, like that you say that, like it's funny. I can't remember when I saw a band have a laptop on stage, but definitely I'll say that it seemed like it went from like a laptop snuck on stage, and then I started seeing bands have full like bands on a laptop, whereas like the guitars were being played and the lighting show was attached to that, and like
Yeah.
without the laptop they couldn't play at all. And
Yep.
it's really funny, like as you know, I've been filling in with As I Lay Dying. We had a instance where our live rig got shipped, and I don't know if you've ever had this happen, but like something broke on the in-ear system, and then like the guitar player is like hitting the keyboard, and like things are not working, they're not talking, and then the next thing you know, like we were met with that split moment where we looked at each other, and it's like, can we play or not? And that's when when that question got popped up, like almost like subconsciously, some of the guys were like, I don't know if we could do the show. I was like, what are you talking about? Just click the sticks. Let's do this. Like that's when, it's like, what are we? I'm like, I don't care if we're in a garage or in front of 15,000 people. Let's just go. We're awesome. Let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know we've had a couple moments where we've had to ask ourselves that too, where it's like, is this gonna work? Like, are we gonna be okay? Or it's a scary question. I think all of us now have that question come up every now and then because someone decides to throw a rig around, or during travel, or like some customs agent just doesn't put the lid on something or whatever.
Right.
It's terrifying. It is terrifying.
Mike Sanders is writing, how do you guys feel about the silent stage trend? Obviously, like you and I'm wearing my in-ears right now. 64 audio. I don't know if you use those guys. They're great.
Yeah.
They're the coolest. But like I like the silent stage because people it kind of keeps people from becoming we call them stage potatoes in the Unearthed camp. So like there's no reason to watch the show from the stage unless if you have a pack. So go watch it in the front, which is awesome because it keeps people like off your stage. Which
sure.
You want friends up there, but you also don't want them up there.
Yeah, we started doing side fill cabs. So like we played some shows with Killswitch last year, and we noticed that their cabs were on the side pointed like inward, and we're like, that's really interesting. And I don't know, there's something about it, man. There's something, it fills the stage. You kind of get more air. It's kind of cool. And then also like some people, if they do decide to watch side stage, they can hear some stuff. I mean, obviously it's nothing like, as you're saying, like if you don't have a pack, there's no point. But yeah, I like the side fill cab thing for sure. It fills the stage. It feels great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave you with this before, guys. We're gonna announce the winner right now to this giveaway, but I'll leave you with this. There was a band on Warped Tour that had a weird contraption that they built that fits a laptop on there with a grate. Like, so it's like they had ice and water underneath the laptop, and the laptop sat on a metal thing that like on top of it, so it couldn't fall in. But they needed to keep the laptop cool, or else their show wouldn't work.
Oh my god, dude, that's crazy.
I'll tell you offline who it was, but I was like,
please
ooh.
Please do.
All right. Well, hey, Mike, hang tight. I want to say, well, actually, in front of everybody, I'm gonna say thank you very much for the time. I know that you're a busy guy, and do you want to just tell everybody what you're doing, like for touring right now, real quick?
Yeah, we're on the Revolutions Live tour with Papa Roach and Shinedown. We're about a week and a bit into it. It's been a really great time. And yeah, there's plenty of dates left, so check it out. And if you're in the area, come check out a show. It'd be awesome.
Awesome. I will unfortunately not make it out, but I want to because it's too far away.
Yeah.
But guys, go see Spiritbox live. I've seen them a million times. They're amazing. Mike, hang tight. I'm gonna announce everybody and get out of the stream, but we'll say goodbye. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this live stream. It's been absolutely amazing. Again, we're here with Mike talking about Modern Series humbuckers, how much he loves them, how much he plays them on stage, and how they're a lifesaver. We did just release a brand new set that is offered in all the same colors that you know and love, but this one is in red, which we didn't have before, and we have an advanced feature, which is a split voice 3 sound, which is absolutely amazing. But right now, I'm getting word right now from Fishman HQ that we do have a winner for this event. And I have a very special screen that I built for this particular moment because, I want to party with you guys. Guys, Sean M. is our winner today. Boom. He just won this set of pickups. Guys, we are doing a live stream on Monday. Well, congratulations, Sean. But we are doing another live stream on Monday with this set of pickups that you don't know what it is. I'm not going to turn them around, but Mike is currently playing them and he loves them, and we're going to talk about them and unveil them on Monday. So guys, thank you so much for showing up to the stream. We had a blast. Go check out Spiritbox. They're the best band ever, and we will see you all on Monday.